I've been seeing this a lot, right? Going around. Obviously, we all have for years. Stuff about dating and whatnot. I just want to say that, in all actuality, like, if you're a guy and, you're thinking about dating, and let's say, I don't know, I mean, I'm a young guy, so I guess this pertains to Gen Z, but this really can go for anybody of any age at this point in this world, right? Primarily if you're not a boomer, I guess, but for most of us guys, it's like, I think a lot of men, like, I'm going to talk about the trap a lot of men fall into, right? Including myself. And, like, I'm not going to give any solutions because, I'm not God or fucking, some holier than thou wizard, but, hopefully this is relatable. So basically what I'm going to talk about is this, right? So I feel like most of us when we're younger, now I know this isn't a popular take online, but I feel like when I talk to my in-person friends that this is the case, right? Most people online, or if you look at books and you look at human history, and they talk about male dating patterns, right? They say, oh, men like to sleep around, they like to pump and dump, they ghost women when they're young, and then they get serious when they're older. I don't really think that's the case, at least in my generation, for Gen Z. And you may say, but guys are so promiscuous nowadays. Now, hold on, I'm getting to that, all right? So if you're a woman, which is highly unlikely, I mean, women are going to watch this video, if anybody at all, to be honest with you, but what I'm trying to say is this, right? Like, most people, at least men that I know, and including myself, when they start out, right? I started out extremely monogamous. I grew up Catholic. Obviously, I don't believe in religion now. I don't go to church anymore. That's a whole separate topic. But those values still kind of carried over. And even if you're not a religious person, I feel like monogamous Disney type of love was the standard for men for such a long, not for men, but like how the world was structured since the post-World War II era, right? The nuclear family, right? Because that's a new concept, I guess, for humans after World War II. Before that, you still had the family structure, but it was very different. And if you go before that, then it was really just arranged marriages for almost everybody. Where it's like you're only marrying somebody for the access of land or power or, stuff like that for relationships like between kings and queens or nobles or whatever. So to get to what I'm trying to say, when men start out young, right, they want to, like, the first girl you date, I guess I'll just tell a story. I think it's easier than trying to explain this. I'm kind of yapping, right? So my first, I wouldn't really say first girlfriend, because obviously your first love isn't always the first girlfriend, because, like, you can just date somebody and it's not like that intense. But the first time you really love someone, which is my second girlfriend, I would say, which was in high school, right? I think this is like a canon event, as they call it, for everybody. Like, I thought that dating this girl and doing all, adult things with her and, taking those steps meant that was my person, and it was like, I thought that, yes, while most men are, yes, we're inherently sexual, like, a lot of times or whatever, it's like, I still only thought of those things about, like, with her, right? And it was like, I thought that because she was with me, then that means I needed to marry her, right? And that it was like, the world's tough, but I have my person. I'm gonna do everything I can to make this out to be, Now, obviously, we all know how the canon event goes, right? As a man, you have, like, the Ted Mosby, if archetype. Those of you that have seen How I Met Your Mother, or, like, the Ross. I haven't really watched Friends, but I heard they're kind of similar characters. Maybe I got the character wrong. I don't know. And it's like, you have, like, this kind of thing where it's like you're like a very love-centered person, It's like you try to find the one. You're trying to make this woman not understand you, but, like, you're trying to understand her and to add her into your life. And so that you guys both will, enjoy life together and you can grow with a woman, And it's just like, yeah, you start out experimenting in high school, but then you graduate, you're still together in college. And then, maybe you get married after that, and then you start a family. Even if money's tight, like, the world's going on right now. There's wars and shit, and it's like the economy's going down or whatever, but it's like other previous generations have had these types of things happening, but they still do it. But the difference now is the dating landscape has changed, right? This is where I'm trying to go with this video. Like, people still, for some reason... Now, look, this was literally me, so I'm not saying, like, I don't do this. I literally just did this in October. That's, like, this past October, 2025. I finally, snapped out of my BS. Now, again, this is not, like, a red pill, black pill type of video. I feel like this is more of, like, a observation that I think most people can relate to. Maybe even women, I don't know. But the point I'm trying to say is it's, that doesn't work. We're all aware that it's like, if you're a guy, if a girl's making you wait, like, I don't know, more than, like, honestly, like, 3 dates to do anything sexual, she doesn't like you, bro. Because I'm gonna keep it a buck. Like, I'm not Johnny Sins. Like, I'm not out here slanging it around, because I've never technically hooked up, but I've had sex a lot of times, let's just say. Like, I've been in 3 long-term relationships, you know what I mean? Like, that lasted a while. And, like, for one of them, I lived right next to the girl. Like, I'm talking, like, we were, like, you know what I mean? So it was, like, I had sex a lot. So, but then again, this was years ago, so I'm not saying I'm, like, super good at it. Like, I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying it so I can make a point, right? Like, most guys, like, you realize that women will give it up easy for the men they like. My first girlfriend, the first time we went to my house, we had sex, because, we were attracted to each other. Versus, I know a lot of men will say, oh, I'm with my girl and she's had exes before me and I've had to wait, like, 7. It's like, dude, like, she doesn't like you. Now, to make this make sense, like, again, no, weird stuff, but imagine you're a girl, right? Or actually, no, my bad. That's a dumb analogy. You're a guy. Picture 2 women, right? Let's say a very attractive woman, whatever you think of, and then kind of an ugly woman, and the ugly woman wants to do things with you. You're going to start making excuses to not do things with her. And don't say this, boy, I'll take an ugly girl. Most of you guys wouldn't. Like, a lot of men act like they just want any girl, but when any girl shows attention to them, they push them away. I made a different video kind of on that, but the point I'm trying to say with this video is it's like, if you're that attractive woman, it's like you have so many suitors, and as a man, like this whole 1950s Walt Disney, oh, my woman is gonna, be into me only. It's like, that's just not true. So the point of this video I'm trying to get to, I'm so sorry for yapping. I just, like, these things require context, right? I can't just edit it and just, say, like, quick things. You gotta kind of understand what I'm saying, right? Like, you are not going to find a woman that only likes you. Let me say that again. You're not going to find a woman that's only attracted to you and has only ever been attracted to you and only will be attracted to you and hasn't had sex with other guys. And even if they say they haven't, that's one thing. They say they haven't, dude. I've been there. You're like one of those lame-ass dudes who's like, well, how many guys have you, been with? And you're, like, trying to gauge. And she'll say something, but I'm telling you, that's not the real thing. It might not be like those red pillars, like, oh, multiply it by 8. No. But the thing is that she's gonna lie to you. Because most guys, even me, I don't want to hear that shit. But like, a lot of young people ask that question because it's like they're trying to, like, I'm not a psychologist, but you obviously don't want to be with somebody that's been with a lot of people. But at the same time, you also want to know, I guess, right? It's just like a curious type of question. But it's like, stuff like that is just, it's juvenile, but it's also a symptom of, it's like, most men, like, the advice would say, like most people are like, don't ask someone that. But the thing is, I would almost argue you almost do, because, like, in this world, this is not the world where we lived in, I don't know, 100 years ago, where it was like, if a man or woman had a body count of, like, more than 2, that was crazy. Nowadays, your wife, dude, she's getting fucked right now, bro. I'm sorry. If you're a man and you fucking think you're some stupid fucking conservative, lame-ass fucking chicken shit motherfucker, and you think you're gonna marry a woman who hasn't been touched by another man in 2026, you're fucking stupid, buddy. And I know you guys know the type of guys I'm talking about. Now, listen, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not I don't identify with politics, but I like to diss on people who take sides in these things because they all act the same when they do, you know? Like the reason why I'm picking on conservatives a lot is because these guys who say shit like, well, I want a girl that, you know, hasn't done it, but like they watch porn all day, bro. It's all they do. And it's like they say they believe in God, but then they support a pedophile president, you know? I know, big topic switch, but I'm kind of all over the place, right? But, like, this kind of all goes together. That's why I'm doing it, right? Damn, this road is loud as fuck, dude. Holy shit. Some roads, man. They gotta fix this shit. They won't do that, though. They gotta send $200 billion to Israel. That's more important, obviously. You know. Anyway, back to real, I guess this video's topic, right? Dating. You know, I feel like men, like, this video is kind of made for guys, but women can kind of understand what I'm saying, too. I'm not shitting on women. Look, man, I get it. Most men want it. They sit here and they act like they wouldn't do the same shit if you had 10 hot MILFs on your phone. Dude, if I could pull women like women could pull men, I'm doing the same shit, you know? I haven't really done anything serious in a while with women. I haven't dated in a year and a half. I haven't even had sex in that. I used to have sex all the time in committed relationships. I mean, because that's what I thought I had to do, right? I thought that if you had sex with a woman, you have to marry them. That's another thing. A lot of guys think that. Like, you grow up thinking that, but then you actually realize, the thing I was trying to say at the beginning of the video, that woman who said, oh, I don't really want to do those things anymore. My ex did that. I don't want to do those things anymore. You know how many men are in relationships where their girl has to give them a fucking blowjob once? But for her ex, she got fucked in the ass or something like that, you know? I apologize for the audio if I'm, like, yelling too loud. Sorry, I can't control that, but I know you guys know what I'm talking about, you know? Maybe not so much for us 20-year-olds, but older guys can kind of maybe chime in if this video gets any views, and they can kind of say that, like, yeah, that's a real thing. It's happened to me. I mean, I'm young, but, like, you know, I don't know, maybe I'm just weird, but it's like, that's a real thing, like, and I guess the point I'm trying to say when I was criticizing the, like, conservative guys before is it's like, as a man, before you even think about dating, you have to get your values lined up, right? Now, for me, this, like this video is not saying body count doesn't matter. Body count does matter, you know? But I'm saying that you have to have context with that, right? You can't simply just, you know, say you want all these things, but then not actually be those things, right? Because I know a popular take with men is it's like, women will be like, oh, you know, you can't watch porn, you can't jerk off to, like, you know, whatever, that's cheating. And guys like, that's fucking stupid. But then at the same time, if your girl puts on Love Island and starts looking at some guy's abs, you're gonna freak out. It's the same shit, dumbass, you know? But the thing is if you are gonna watch porn, then let your girl watch Love Island. You're already watching some other girl get fucked. You fucking gooner, okay? You weren't, like, that's not something you can defend, you fucking retard, alright? I don't watch porn, alright? I used to have an addiction to that. I broke it at 16. I'll make a video on how to actually do that. But the thing is it's like, you know, over a period of time, well, this car is loud as fuck, dude. Oh my god. I'm sorry. I'm gonna, like, freak out, dude. Holy shit. No, like, over a period of time, you realize that, like, that type of content is not in any way conducive to anything. I'm not even talking about relationships at this point. It's just like, dude, you gotta understand that you can jerk off the way women do, right? To your brain. That's how they do it. That's how humans did for, like, thousands of years. Yes, is that technically still porn? I guess, dude. But there's no brain fog with it. Where I'm going with this is I'm saying, if you improve that aspect of your life, what the fuck are you doing? Sorry, someone tried to cut in front of me, and it was like, there's no, whatever. But, like, if you cut that aspect out of your life, you're ahead of all other guys. Like I said, like, my brother's a fucking gooner, bro. My sister, like, went on his page to try and find, like, what girlfriend he had, and this dude followed, like, I swear to God, like, thousands of OnlyFans models. And his girlfriend was, like, not even near the top of, like, his, like page. Like, she's not even there, dude. And it's like, damn, that's crazy. That's how most men are. Now, this segment's done, right? So the point of me going on that little tangent is pointing out some of the issues and discrepancies men may have with women. Because the whole point that like I'm trying to gear this content towards is you have to be like for those of you who know Star Wars, you know, Emperor Palpatine, right? Senator Palpatine, whatever you want to call him, Darth Sidious, he played all sides. You know, now I know he was a villain, but most smart people, or if you just want to be able to be successful, you have to actually understand both sides of the problem for anything. This is going to be about politics, dating, I don't know, cars. You have to understand the whole issue. That's why I'm saying men's downsides too. Because if you understand our downsides and you understand women's downsides, okay, pause. Like, you know, you also can come to your own conclusions and figure out the fucking issue.